When kids saw me, they would point fingers, laugh. Well, they even called me names. Hi everyone, my name is Tanya Gudkova. I am, 35 years old. My height is 1 meter and 7 centimeters. And actually, why am I short? Because I have underdevelopment of my upper and lower limbs. My mom. But right away, when she regained consciousness after giving birth, they told her that that's exactly what they said, a freak was born. She was afraid to come near me. To my knowledge, based on what others said, it was a genetic malfunction. So if I have a child, yes, it will be born the same way as me. But my mom and dad are both healthy. After taking me home from the maternity hospital, she kept me at home for a month, breastfed me for a month and 3 days. Then she took me to the hospital and signed a waiver. My leg is like that of a 2-year-old child. It's just a bit wider than a normal child's. I move around using a walker, and I started walking when I was 11 years old. Before that, because of my illness, I used a wheelchair. They tried to do surgery on me, to stretch the tendons so I could put my heel down. It didn't work, so I still walk on my tiptoes. In Soviet times, no one coddled us. We were raised strictly. They gave me a walker and told me to learn. Walk on your own. Because I walk on my tiptoes, I can't stand even for a second without shoes. They make a mold specifically for my foot, and then they make the shoes. My shoes cost at least 6,000, which shocks me. They're so expensive, and that's just for fall. Winter shoes are even worse. But if things like sinks are adjusted for my height, for example, I can wash dishes, wash light underwear, and of course wash my face. I can prepare salads, but everything needs to be adjusted to my height. After all, I want to depend less on others. They brought a child from home to the orphanage. We have a lot of different kids here. Some are missing a leg, they have a stump up to the knee instead of a leg, and one leg is healthy. Some have no legs at all. Some kids are more mobile. They were attached to those unable to move themselves and were pushed around. There were only 1 or 2 caregivers for many kids who needed help, and he couldn't manage alone. And even I couldn't do it myself. My arms were too short. Of course, I couldn't reach the wheels, so they pushed me around. Until I was 11. Before that, I couldn't hold my back straight very well. And if you just gave me a little push like this, I would fall over. Well, do you know why they called me the tumbler doll? I was always falling down. They gave me a ball. With its help, I learned to crawl and somehow hold my back. And with its help, I could move wherever I needed to go. I used to crawl on my knees before. When you're born, not completely healthy, they immediately give you a mental diagnosis too, saying that you're not completely healthy mentally either. Yeah, they diagnosed me with oligophrenia back in the orphanage. For some reason, I'm an introvert by nature, but I like to socialize as a child, just like many kids. A lot? Why and what for? When I was about 8, I went up to my caregiver and asked, why have everyone's arms grown at my age, but mine haven't? Mine are unchanged. Well, it just wasn't common to talk about diagnoses there at all. And in general, she was like, well, that's just how you are, that's it, just like that. She didn't really worry about it too much, to be honest. I always had girlfriends who helped me out, with whatever I needed. And thanks to that, I never really worried about it. We weren't allowed outside the gates until we turned 18. I'm shocked. We're 16, 17 years old and we're not allowed to leave the orphanage on our own. Well, until 4th grade I loved studying, but in the upper grades, and also when they said I would be sent to a nursing home, that just completely killed my motivation. To strive for anything. Because it was believed that if you were already going to a nursing home, that was it for you. To live out your days, your life, even though you were only 18, it would seem. I'm an introvert. I was more like, I had questions. I wondered, why did my mother abandon me, and where is my mom anyway? But the only thing I asked out loud was, where is my mom? Why doesn't she come to see me or bring me any treats? Because there were kids whose parents would come to visit and bring them treats. So I had that question too. The teacher just shrugged, I don't know. She patted me, and that was it. 24 years later, I went there to the place where I was born and where my parents live, but they didn't accept me. I remember it was such a sunny day, September, warm. My father wouldn't come out. I could see him rubbing the back of his head, looking nervous. I asked for my mom to come out. He went to call her. He was gone 5, 10, 15 minutes. I thought, that's it if he doesn't come out now. Then he says she has a heart condition and can't come out. I said, I know, I have a sister. He said, yes. I asked, what's her name, Ira? They didn't even invite me inside. So from the outside, through the gate, I looked at what my little house looks like. It's nice, so small and cozy. We stood there for about 2 minutes. Well, it seems like there's nothing else to talk about. Everyone is silent. The conversation feels forced. I said, well, that's it. Well, of course, I wanted to know why you left. That's the desire of every abandoned child. I wanted to leave right away. There, but as luck would have it, I had to stay the night. And well, like anyone who feels rejected, I just wanted to leave that place as soon as possible, to run away. That's how it was for me too. Then I arrived. I didn't sleep well at night. I fell asleep and then I woke up because of a phone call. My mother was calling, she was crying and started apologizing. No, we communicated for about a year over the phone. She also asked me how life was for me in the orphanage, how I was living in the boarding house. That's how we talked. I asked how she was, how Ira was. I wanted to see Ira. She told me, okay, I'll ask her. But actually my mother was hiding from Ira about my existence. She later just told me that I had asked. Ira isn't ready yet. And she's taking exams right now. She doesn't need any extra stress.
And you never talked to your sister either?
I found her on Facebook and sent a friend request. She didn't accept my request, so I cancelled it later. And with my mother, we talked for about a year, like I said, and then one day she just told me, don't call me or write to me anymore. I asked why? Did I do something wrong or say something wrong? She said, no, it's not your fault, just don't call me or write to me. And that was the end of our communication. Well, she probably feels guilty for leaving me, and they're also ashamed. It's a village, after all. In the village, all people really know how to do is gossip, to put it bluntly.
Do you feel hurt by your family, the word mom?
Well, at first, yes, very much. I was really angry. If she were here, I would have said much more. It's good she wasn't here. Now I've let go of everything and everyone. If she doesn't want to, if they don't want to, then they don't. We're complete orphans, always step by step. Hospital, children's home, orphanage. From 4 to 18, an orphanage. From the orphanage straight to the nursing home. Now it's called something nice. A geriatric boarding house. When I arrived, it was called a nursing home. The difference between a nursing home and a geriatric boarding house is that before, only grandpas and grandmas lived there. There were very few young people. Well, since our country wasn't set up to accommodate us young people with disabilities, they started sending us there too. I was in shock. For half a year, all I did was cry. What was there to be happy about? At the boarding house, you could go outside the gates. At least you could get some fresh air and distract yourself a little. You just walk around, look at people, and they look at you. But there was a downside. When kids saw me, they pointed their fingers, laughed, and even called me names. It was a shock for me because until I was 18, we were kept isolated. So I wasn't even used to being treated like that. They would call us names, not just me, but other kids with disabilities too. They would point fingers and laugh at us. I understand that it's not the kids' fault. They just don't understand yet. It's the parents. They just don't explain to their children that there are people you shouldn't act that way toward people who are different. The responsibility really falls on the parents. Well, of course, I was angry at them, but I couldn't do anything. After all, it's someone else's child. The first few times I went with the girl so I wouldn't get lost. She showed me where the market was, where the stores were. I was even shy to buy underwear just to go up like that. Because in our orphanage we had separate staff for that, who gave us things, underwear. Here, when you come alone, it's awkward and you just stand there. I stood there until the very end, until the saleswoman said, "Miss, do you need something?" But I had already come up and picked out everything I needed. In general, we're very reserved. Everyday life, let's just say, isn't always convenient for me. Now, there were no conveniences there, to be honest. You know, to wash up or brush my teeth, I did it over the toilet. Honestly, the sink was taller than me, so I'd use a cup of water and brush my teeth over the toilet. Of course, it's unpleasant to brush like that, but what can you do? Even now, things aren't exactly convenient. But I have a little stool and I stand on it so I can reach the sink and I can turn on the water by myself. I can wash my face and do the dishes.
How much total time did you actually spend in the boarding house?
It was 17 years in the summer.
Do you consider this your home?
No, because home is where you are the mistress and no one tells you what to do. This isn't my home. It's just a place to stay because I have nowhere else to go.
How much is your pension?
I have a first-degree disability. In total, probably 3.5, I think. I received 25%. 75% is taken by the boarding house. As they explained to us, it's for food, clothing, and I think utilities. Well, I received 927 in hand.
And what is the most expensive purchase you've ever made in your life?
It's a phone, which is already acting up too. I saved up for 2 years. I bought it for 4,000 back then. My dream, of course, I don't know. It's kind of far-fetched, but it's not to live in a boarding house. So, I dream of having my own room, but I want to be the owner of it so that they just don't move me from building to building or from room to room. That's very difficult because they won't let me leave the boarding house alone or go anywhere. There's nowhere to go. I just need an assistant, a female assistant or a guardian.
Your most memorable New Year or birthday? Do you celebrate holidays?
I don't like my birthday because, well, I don't know. It's probably the saddest day of my life because I came into this world like this and I'm living my life so uselessly. I would say I haven't become anyone. I have no education or job. We're often not accepted in many places. But for me, what my illness means, first of all, of course, it's about limitations and the struggle for the right to exist. To exercise my rights, which I tirelessly try to achieve, just, well, not to give up for everyone who goes through difficulties on your own. It's very, well, unlikely that you'll win.